Welcome to Blended TV. Tonight we've got Moe Aghdam joining us, aka Mo. He's one of our coaches here at Blended Athletics, and he specializes on the gymnastics sides of things. He's got his level 1 CrossFit cert, his level 2 CrossFit cert, as well as his CrossFit Gymnastics specialty cert. He's also a student at Dal, finishing his kinesiology degree. This guy is a wealth of knowledge, and tonight we're going to dig in a little bit on some of the background information around gymnastics and why it's so important for you as an athlete in order to progress and become a more well-rounded athlete. Mo, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I'm excited to have you on. So, I mean, when you kind of joined us here at Blended Athletics, one of the things that you kind of fell in love with really quickly was the gymnastics side of things. Was there a specific reason that that's where you tended to draw a focus?
I think it's because you're really light. Yeah, okay. Everyone makes that joke. But honestly, I always liked doing pull-ups and everything like that at the gym as I was doing kind of more bodybuilding style workouts. But then when I got here, it was that we had 2 rings right up here, and I saw one workout where a bunch of you guys did muscle ups, and I was like, oh my God, I need to learn this. And it took me probably 2 days to learn muscle ups. It took me 4 months to get the courage to go all right, I want to try this. Did it for an entire night, failed, and then the next day I did a WOD. Almost walked out, came back, and I'm like, I need to do this. And I did it, and everyone started clapping, and I'm like, this is the best skill I want to start learning. Muscle ups, any kind of pull-ups, or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to control my body weight.
Yeah. So some of the benefits that come around gymnastics, what do those entail?
So, I mean, if you look at a gymnast, which is a little bit different to what we see in CrossFit gymnastics, but a gymnast in general has a better, one of the best physiques out there. So
You've got a good little picture to kind of represent a few of the different types of athletes that are out there. Sorry, continue.
But they do have, if we take that section of the whole thing, the physique is incredible. And that's mostly because of how much of control they have on their body weight. So being able to move their body over and over again with the same movement, it's awesome. But also, other ways gymnastics could help recovery from weightlifting, and we can look at all the other skills that come with gymnastics. I think you can improve on gymnastics on many different ways.
Yeah. So with gymnastics, that physique, I mean, so many people think when they're looking for fitness, I feel like even within my circle of friends, they're like, oh, well, I'm going to take up running. And a lot of times, people's goals are aesthetics. They want to look better. They want to feel better. Everything that goes along with it. And I think to your point, looking at a gymnast and their physique in comparison to a long distance runner and their physique, I think there's obviously some confusion within the general public on what it takes in order to kind of meet each individual's personal goals. And in our program here, where we incorporate gymnastics into your general fitness, that is kind of what our objective is, right? It is to provide people with a little bit of a taste of kind of what's involved in it and some of the benefits that come out of it.
100%. I really agree with the fact that in our programming we have a lot of pieces, or even the skill work that people don't realize that they're actually working a lot of muscles right now and getting really exhausted as they're doing it. This stuff helped their physique because if you compare a long distance runner, you're not exactly making the muscles as you doing a really long run that you need to for a better physique, while when you're doing weightlifting / gymnastics, to be specific, you're trying to make more
you're kind of utilizing those, like the different movements, I guess, what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so you're making the muscle, and it's kind of crossover between a weightlifting and, because you're still lifting, but it's your body weight, and also higher reps and all of that is when it comes to the physique part of the whole thing.
Yeah, and the fact that it doesn't have to involve weight provides a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, the ability to use their body weight in order to take some benefits from it. Now, there's a lot of benefits when it comes and surrounds the health component of it, especially when it comes to joint health. Why is it that gymnasts and like joint health and how we incorporate it into our program here at Blended, why is that going to help make you stronger at your Olympic lifts?
So being able to control your own body weight, by that I repeated that multiple times today, but like if you are able to do that, it's easier to start adding on weight to that. So if I was going to go ahead and just put 250 pounds on a barbell and try to squat that, I will definitely injure myself or hurt myself somehow. But being able to slowly getting a good control of my body and then working up to heavier weights, you are building a great foundation for your body to start up. And going back to joint health, it's also they utilize kind of gymnastics in a lot of weightlifting programs just because it takes away all that excessive amount of weight. Not excessive, but like that high amount of weight that they're doing over and over again. But in the same time, it's still allowing them to kind of recover and make the muscles that they will probably need in their Olympic lifting or any kind of lifting.
Yeah, so like that active recovery component to it. Yeah. And I mean, core strength is huge in gymnasts.
It's the biggest part of it.
And for athletes in general, whether you're an Olympic lifter, a CrossFitter, you play hockey, so on and so forth, I think that is something that they need to be taking away from it. Like,
I think we already did the first gymnastics, blended athletic gymnastic class last weekend on Saturday, and the first 20 minutes I worked on core strength, and I explained how that hollow and arch position is going to be at the start and end of every gymnastic position that you do. Being able to keep that core tight could work in any kind of daily activity that you do. I mean, sports, while lifting, your grocery bags, I mean, everything. If you have the ability to keep that strong core, you are taking away from the injury factors a lot. So being able to control that is what's going to help you, basically.
I have a lot of parents that come talk to me about getting their kids involved in off-ice training. So to incorporate it kind of with hockey and how they can get some benefits out of it. And one of the things that I tell them more often than not is that if I could take myself and go back to the age of 6 or 5, kind of when I started hockey, and if I was going to incorporate some sort of off-ice program into the mix of things, I would have joined gymnastics. Like the kids that take up gymnastics at an early age, I mean, their body awareness, their core strength, just their ability to move in general is without question significantly better than those kids who never participated in gymnastics before.
A little while back, while I was working with some of the hockey teams that we had over here, I explained the importance of gymnastics, and they kind of laughed at it because it had the word gymnastics into it, and they were like, no, it's all about weightlifting and everything. And I wish I could, well, I tried, but I wish I could kind of tell them more about how if I had the opportunity, and I imagine this all the time, to go back 10 years, to go back 6 years, I would ask my parents to take me to gymnastic classes over any other activity that I've done. Ask me to take me to gymnastic classes. Just because of, first of all, I would have a great physique for high school. Second of all, but it's also the strength and all the capabilities. Even if you look at a lot of CrossFit Games athletes, their background is gymnasts. Annie Thorisdottir is a gymnastic background. And even now that I have a friend who was en route to doing the Olympics this year's 2016, he unfortunately injured himself, but he was telling me the CrossFitters that he trains with when he goes back to Iceland, and their amount of gymnastic training takes up so much of their day, but that doesn't take away from their weightlifting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I mean, going back to the CrossFitters, like the CrossFit Games athletes, you're right. Like the majority of those Games athletes have a background in gymnastics in one way or another. And that's, I really think that's one of the keys and what's made them become so successful at what they do now.
It helped Matt Frazier a lot because he went after last year, he went back and he told all the CrossFit videos and everything that you watch. He's like, I went back and worked on my gymnastics and I perfected everything that I needed to. And I mean, talking about I've heard of any gymnastics classes and everything like that, when these kids that as soon as they start, right before they start their classes, this is a little bit more advanced after a year of practice, they do one rope climb just to start their day. And then they'll start with a warm-up. I mean, that's the amount of strength that you need for gymnastic class to be able to do a rope climb at any point of the day.
And I buy into it. Yeah. And in buying into it, one of the things that we're moving towards is incorporating more gymnastics into our programming here at Blended Athletics, including a gymnastics class Saturdays at 1:15 with yourself. Yeah. So it's an hour-long class, 1:15 to 2:15. What's like the build of the class? Like, how is it structured?
Right. So gymnastics, like any other sport, has strengthening, has also techniques and conditioning for it. So we are not only going to focus on, we are going to teach you the kips, or here's what we're going to do. We structure it exactly like a CrossFit class. So you have the strengthening portion, which starts with the skill portion, then the strengthening portion, and then you have the workout. The workout is usually an EMOM. It's not a Metcon per se, but like it's very close to something that would get you exhausted. And for example, going back to the Saturday that just passed, we started with some hollow holds and everything, and that was the strengthening part of it. So that would be mostly the strict pull-ups, strict muscle-ups, and strict handstand push-up. And then the conditioning part, we are doing multiple reps over and over again.
And for those members that we have, or those who are members at other gyms, I think one key point out is that the Open has a significant amount of gymnastics work in it if you plan to do it prescribed.
It's so, it actually blew my mind this year specifically because it was my second Open. A lot of people came by and they're like, oh my God, muscle ups are coming in the workout. I'm like, wait, you told me you had muscle ups. And they're like, yeah, I did one 6 months ago and that went pretty well. So I thought I'm okay for that. I'm like, well, that's not exactly how it works. But if you think about it, it's exactly the same as weightlifting, going back to that, because a lot of people, if you don't practice that, you won't get better at it. So coming Opens, they're trying to make those gymnastic movements harder and harder every year. I mean, starting with pull-ups and to chest to bars this year, and bar muscle-ups, and they're obviously going to not only get heavier weight, which is a part of it, but but there are going to be harder movements in gymnastics. And if you're thinking of doing RX, the only way to be able to do that is practicing your gymnastics, or you're just going to do one pull-up and be like,
yeah, you're really not going to score well in the open if you're not working on your gymnastic skills going into it.
Definitely not. Yeah.
So I mean, people have about 3 months before the open starts, so making those Saturdays is key, but you are also adding something else in.
Yeah.
So let everyone know what they can be expecting during the week in order to help them progress.
So every week, including the Saturday, we're giving out 2 days of programming, which you can do at any time during the open gym, right after your class, right before your class, whenever you have time. Plus those 2 days of programming, I'll be also giving out 2 5-minute videos that could help you to find a scale so you can do the programming, or even if you're unsure about the movement, I'll be going over the RX movement, so the prescribed movement. In the same time, we were just talking about this. I'm trying to take more random videos when I'm at home and practicing random gymnastic movements like the plank, or I'm trying to do a handstand walk or anything without breaking my TV. I'll try to video that and hopefully post that on and show you guys the things that you can do at home, but also have 2 days of programming that you can use as accessory during your week.
So guys, this is, if you want to seriously improve your CrossFit abilities, then you can't just keep avoiding the gymnastics side of things. You've really got to realize that it's a skill, it's something that takes time to develop, but it's going to be really, really important in your development from a fitness perspective overall. And I think that Moe's new class on Saturdays, and if you incorporate his 15-minute workouts that he's going to post during the week, adding those into your week's programming is really going to help you progress and get yourself into a position where the open is going to run really smoothly this year for you. So, Mo, is there anything else that you want to add, or did we cover everything?
We basically covered everything. I would also like to add to the open part. There's a lot of CrossFit competitions out there, and we all talk about them every time. And a lot of people, right before they sign up for the competitions, they wonder if they're going RX or if they want to go scaled. And unfortunately, so much of that time, they look at the workout and they're like, I'm able to do this, but at the end of the competition, there's muscle ups, and I can't do muscle ups, and I want to go scale, therefore, for the entire workout. If you're able to do an entire competition RX, and the only thing holding you back is muscle ups, it's probably time to start practicing that and improving that, and I'm hopefully going to help you towards that goal, and not only get your muscle up, but get better at that, or any other movement that's restricting you from going RX most of the time.
You guys heard it. If you struggle with it, Mo's going to fix it. It's a guarantee, he says. Mo, thanks for coming on Blended TV tonight. Guys, jump into one of those Saturday classes, and we'll also be posting those 15-minute workouts on the Blended Facebook page. So jump in. If you have questions, let us know.